Okay, so have you enjoyed writing your entire life, or was it something you learned to love?
I think I learned to love writing. I've never fancied myself as a writer. Uh, I began my career as a photographer. I was always interested in photography, and I've done that for over 20 years professionally. But then I started writing a little over 10 years ago, and that has become a wonderful challenge for me to become a better writer and to instead of using my photography for words, to actually put in writing my thoughts and feelings and to try to put together a really wonderful story that lays out well.
True that. Okay, explain a little bit about your writing process. Do you spend a lot of time pre-planning and brainstorming about your content and stuff like that?
I do. I What I like to do is I like to outline things. When I'm writing a book, wrote 2 books for Random House. I like to lay out a nice outline. It takes me a while, a few months. While I'm doing that, I'm gathering all kinds of information and notes and kind of categorizing them into folders and slowly build that outline. And that outline really works well when you want to write a book because then you can just fill in the blanks for each chapter. But I'm writing how-to books on photography. It's a little different than a novel, but maybe people who write novels can work that way as well. When I write shorter magazine articles, I also kind of block things out. And the wonderful thing about a computer is that you can cut and paste paragraphs and move them around if you have to. But not as heavily on outlining, but I kind of think about what I'm supposed to write about in the article and build from there.
Yep. What was your publishing process like? What was the steps you took when getting your book published?
When I'd wanted to do a book for a few years, and I tried to get a few books published, but it seems to always work out where they have the idea that they want to pass to you, at least for my industry. And so I got commissioned to write a book on photographic exposure from Random House. They contacted me, and then we went over and discussed what they wanted. Could I do it? I felt I could. And then they sent me a contract, and I looked over that as far as what rights I would allow, how much they would pay me, and finally we signed it and took off from there. And then they liked that book so much, luckily, that a couple years later they had me write my new book on nature photography.
Awesome. Besides your 2 books, what other pieces of writing have you done?
I've written a number of magazine articles. I have a few here. Obviously, we can't see it on my computer, but I've written articles for Outdoor Photographer, Photoshop User Magazine, Peterson's Photographic, and I've also written some pieces, some feature pieces on places I've traveled to for different travel magazines, like Argentina. I wrote a story on traveling up to Scotland from London, and I like writing stories on locations as well, but the how-to stuff on photography is also fun.
Awesome. Do you have any advice for aspiring writers, and overall, was your experience writing a book enjoyable?
Well, we were talking about this before, and one of the things that I loved recently, I was watching the HBO special or Showtime special on the Eagles, and they really nailed it. They said, when you first write, it's going to stink. Just keep writing. Keep working on that because you get better. Read your stuff over again. Try to come up with more descriptive words and keep improving. That's the wonderful thing about art and writing and photography. You can continue to improve all your life. So I would say just keep writing. Don't worry if it stinks because every great writer had their work not turn out that great and they kept improving on it. So.
Most definitely. All right, I think we're done.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.